Hi, I'm Newt Crenshaw, the president of Young Life. Thanks for taking the time to show up today and to see what God is doing in the lives of kids in your community. What you're doing is exactly what kids need. Kids need today more than ever adults to show up in their lives. It's through these relationships as adults go where kids are and walk alongside them that we in Young Life earn the right to share about how God showed up in the world through the person of Jesus Christ and how this reveals the extravagant love God has for us. And regardless of a kid's response to God, adults in Young Life keep walking alongside them, no matter what. This is why I love Young Life. I've seen it show up in the lives of my own kids. I took my kids to a Young Life family camp when they were young, and I can still remember the delight and excitement on my daughter's face as she watched program. The characters making jokes and showing us that life is meant to be enjoyed. And this led to a simple and clear presentation of the gospel, which happens in Young Life every day. Kids hear about Jesus and his love and how they can walk with him. While a global pandemic has changed some of how we do things, our core remains the same. The adults you see on the screen, not me, but others, are the ones who know kids in your community. They actually like spending time with them. And now, when kids are more removed and isolated than ever, they are the ones who have relationships with these kids who are hurting and hopeful, anxious and excited. I want you to know that in Young Life, this is not a season to pause or halt what we do. Rather, we're going forward together. That's our focus. We're finding new ways to go together with kids. We know them and care for them. We are finding creative ways to share life together with them because kids are dear to us. After all, going together is really about showing up. In a few moments, you'll hear about ways to show up for kids in your community. I want you to know that Young Life exists all around the U.S. and in 105 countries around the world. We're in the lives of over 2 million kids. We are able to do this because generous adults in communities like yours have decided kids need adults walking in friendship with them and a chance to hear the good news of Jesus Christ. These adults support this work through prayer, time, and financial resources. Thanks for showing up today and considering how you can show up for kids who desperately need it.
Hello? Anyone else on Zoom yet? Hi, Mary. I think you're on mute. I can't hear what you're saying. You're going to have to take yourself off mute. Mary, in the lower left-hand corner, there's a button to take yourself off mute.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just wondering where Brian is.
Well, you know, Brian, I think he was probably late for his own wedding.
That's true. I'm going to give him a call. He usually answers. Let's see.
Merle, Seth.
Once again, Brian, please don't call me that. I really don't love that nickname. I was just wondering where you are. Mary and I are waiting for you on Zoom.
Oh, shoot. I am sorry, Merle. I am honestly still in bed. I did not realize that you were going to be waiting for me.
Yeah, I wrote it down in that calendar I gave you, to help you be more organized.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, Merle. I have not looked at that thing since you gave it to me.
Okay, well, we could talk about that later. Can you just hop on the Zoom call?
Yes, I will get out of bed and get on the Zoom call in just a minute.
Perfect. I'll see you soon. Brian should be on in a minute.
So you mean you gave him an organizer and he hasn't even looked at it?
Apparently. I don't know.
Hello. Can you guys see me?
No, but maybe it's on my end.
Yeah, I can't really see you either. It's a little dark.
Okay, let me see if I can adjust the settings. You know, I've been on Zoom a bunch, but I still don't really understand my way around. How's that?
No, not really.
Mm-mm. Now your camera's off.
Okay, how did you do that, Michelle? I did not do that.
No, but you knew how to unmute yourself, so it's right next to the unmute button. Turn your camera back on.
This is annoying. Okay, hold on. What's that?
There we go.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. Glad we got it figured out. Yeah, thanks for being patient with me. I don't really have an excuse for why I'm late, but yeah, what's on the agenda for today, Merle?
We're filming the Young Life Banquet today, remember?
Oh, yes. Is that today? Yeah, let's do it.
Great. Have you memorized your line?
Yeah, definitely.
For some reason, I don't fully believe you.
Okay, well, I looked at it, but I mean, we're filming it on Zoom, so why can't I just read it? Why can't I just say, welcome to the 2020 Young Life Banquet, virtual Young Life Banquet? That's easy enough. I won't mess that up.
Because then you're not looking at the camera, and it's only one line. It's only 8 words.
Brian, I think that it's really important that we do a good job on this, because if we just try to throw something together, like if people saw the conversation we're having right now, there's no way they would want to support this ministry.
Okay. All right, I will memorize the line. What's happening again? How's this video working?
Okay, so we're going to introduce ourselves, and then in unison, we're going to look at the camera and say, welcome to the 2020 Virtual Young Life Banquet. Then all of the adults on the committee are going to send us a video of themselves welcoming people as well.
Unison is not going to work. I'm just telling you right now. It's going to be awkward over Zoom. I'm just being honest. I'm just telling you right now, but you are the boss, Merle, so we can go ahead and try it.
Awesome. Thanks for trying it. So let's do this. Mary, you'll go first, and then I'll go, and then Brian. Sound good?
Hello, everyone. I'm Mary Murphy, and I'm the committee chair for Indiana County Young Life.
And my name is Michelle Irwin, and I am on full-time staff with Young Life here in Indiana County.
My name is Brian Fries, and I'm the area director for Young Life in Indiana County. Welcome to the 2020 Virtual Young Life Banquet. Told you that wasn't going to work.
I thought it went pretty well.
Good evening. I'm Mary Murphy, and I serve as the committee chair for the Indiana County Young Life. I got involved with Young Life as an adult because of how this ministry impacted me as a kid. In high school, I was living a deceptive and reckless life, and the Young Life leaders in my high school provided much needed discipleship for this very confused and floundering teen. And very importantly, being in Young Life gave me an opportunity to share my faith as we invited unbelieving students to club where they heard the gospel and they were surrounded by young adult leaders that showed them God's love. Young Life is especially effective at reaching kids with no church background, and that's why we need it in Indiana County. So I, along with the other committee members, want to warmly welcome you to our 2020 Young Life Banquet.
Welcome!
Welcome. We're glad you're here.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Hello!
Welcome to the Young Life Banquet.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brian Fries, and I actually am the area director for Young Life here in Indiana County. However, I'm not actually as disorganized as it seemed a few moments ago. That was a slight exaggeration. Anyways, Michelle and I are so appreciative that you've taken time out of your life to be here tonight
and to hear about the work that God is doing through Young Life here in Indiana County. I sincerely hope and pray that you would be encouraged, because what we are seeing happen in this ministry in 2020 is incredible. The faces you just saw welcoming you to the banquet make up an integral part of what we do in Young Life. It all starts with a group of caring adults who want to make an impact in the lives of kids. The committee helps raise money for our operations. They're consistent in praying for our staff, leaders, and students, and they are intentional and generous in thanking and supporting our leaders who are giving their lives away for this mission. You could say that the committee is the foundation upon which the ministry is built.
Another group of caring adults consists of our volunteer leaders who spend countless hours pouring into the lives of teenagers and college students. They are continually compelled by the love of Christ to give up their own spare time and instead go love kids who are longing to be loved. What do these leaders actually do though? Check it out.
It all starts by going to where kids are. In Young Life, we call this contact work. John 1:14 says that Jesus left heaven and made his dwelling among us. He moved into the neighborhood. You'll see Young Life leaders doing the same thing by going to sporting events, school dismissals, or sitting down for coffee with students. It's all about showing up, building relationships, and earning the right to be heard. Because in Young Life, we know that kids don't care about what you know until they know that you care.
After building relationships with students through contact work, they're invited to something called Club. Club is a party with a purpose. It is a place where every kid is not only welcomed, but celebrated. Whether a kid has grown up going to church or has no idea who Jesus is, they get to have a blast and be themselves. Through games, songs, skits, and laughter, kids experience full life in the way God designed it. The evening ends with the Young Life leaders sharing the gospel, and every kid gets to leave having heard that there is a God who knows them and loves them.
Throughout the year, kids are invited to experience the best week of their life at Young Life Camp that summer. This is no ordinary camp. It's a resort specifically and intentionally designed for high schoolers to experience life to the full. Each night, hundreds of kids run into the club room to scream, dance, and have fun, and listen to a speaker share who Jesus Christ is and how much he loves each of them. During the week, kids have the opportunity to hear and process the gospel, many for the first time, alongside leaders who love them and care for them. Kids leave camp every summer having had not only the best week of their life, but their lives changed for eternity. This past summer, obviously with COVID-19, we were not able to attend a traditional Young Life camp, but we were able to take students from Indiana County on a camp trip of our own.
As kids want to know more about Jesus, they're invited to Campaigners. Campaigners is a community of students who want to know Jesus more and want others at their school to know him too. The vision for Campaigners is to help students grow in their own relationship with Jesus, cultivate community, and empower students to go and love the people around them in their schools and lives. We do this weekly by meeting in a student's home to talk about life, play games, and dive into scripture together.
Although 2020 has obviously changed the way that we do things in Young Life, we have found creative ways to stay in the lives of kids, even during this season of COVID-19. For example, this summer, instead of taking students to a traditional Young Life camp, we got away on our own trip. We took students from Indiana County down to Ohio Pile and got to have an incredible week with them where they got to process through the gospel. We followed all CDC guidelines, and it was an incredible week, and 20 students gave their lives to Christ. But instead of just telling you about what we do, why don't you check out what a week of Indiana County Young Life looks like?
At 5 p.m. on Mondays, you'll find the United High School leaders meeting together to pray and plan for the upcoming week before they head to Girls Campaigners and Guys Campaigners that night alongside the Blairsville leaders. Indiana high school students will also be gathered together for a night at Campaigners. Young Life College at IUP has club on Monday nights, where a leader has the privilege of opening the Bible and sharing the gospel with dozens of IUP students.
Tuesday begins bright and early with the Young Life College team meeting at 6:30 a.m. before everyone heads to working class. Once leaders are finished with their workdays, the evenings begin at 5:30 p.m. when the Indiana Young Life leaders have a team meeting. From there, you can find the IUP freshman guys gathered at my house for a small group at the same time. You'd find all the girl leaders diving into the Word together at a girl leader Bible study.
And Wednesday continues the week with an IUP girls freshman small group at Shay's house, as well as a girls upperclassmen small group with Jan Murphy.
Thursday afternoon is a time for the guy leaders to come together for Bible study. Then, if you head to United at night, you'll find a ton of kids laughing, playing games, and listening to leaders share the gospel at club. In Indiana, you'll find leaders and kids hanging out and going on adventures while IUP upperclassmen guys are enjoying quality time during their small group with Ben Murphy.
Friday morning offers an additional IUP Girls Freshman Small Group with Maddie. Then, after a week full of contact work, club, campaigners, and small groups, all of the leaders gather together at Brian's house for leadership, a time of fellowship, fun, and growing in their own faith. The weekends offer opportunities for more hanging out, adventure, and fellowship. You might see Brett having a bonfire with some of the United High School guys, or Maddie and Shay taking IUP girls to a pumpkin patch.
As you can see, Young Life here in Indiana County is not just a once-a-week thing. Our staff and leaders have the privilege of being in the lives of students nearly every single day of the week. Not only that, but we get to open up the Bible with students at no less than 13 meetings every single week. While we definitely get to have fun and be silly at times, we also get to go deep and have meaningful conversations with these students. And as you're about to hear, God uses those conversations to alter the trajectory of students' lives forever.
I remember one Thursday evening, my sister asked me if I wanted to go, and I said yes. And I remember walking in with music playing, and then we would play really fun games. And then my favorite part would be at the end when we would all gather around and just sit and talk about God, which was really awesome because every single week that I would go, I would learn more and more and more about Him.
I was a transfer student to IUP, and therefore I only had a few friends that I knew there already. And then my good buddy Brett Bloom, who many of you may or may not know, saw that I needed a good community, so he invited me to Young Life.
So when I was a sophomore in undergrad, a friend of mine and myself, we went to this tabling fair, and we met Brian and Hillary at that tabling fair.
I became involved with Young Life back in high school. I went to United High School, and we'd have campaigners at the McNutt's Pond or over at the Brackens.
I first got involved with Young Life when I started college. My freshman year roommate had just come back from Young Life camp that summer, and she was on fire for Jesus, and I admittedly thought she was a little crazy at first. And then after watching her, continue to go to Young Life events and make new friends and develop these relationships, I decided to check it out, and I instantly felt loved and accepted.
My Young Life leader from high school reached out to Brian when I was moving in, and Brian actually showed up and helped me to move into my dorm freshman year, so we kind of established a relationship right away.
I started going, and I just loved the atmosphere. It was fun. I love that we sing and just do fun, exciting things together as a group and learn a little bit more about God.
I got introduced to Young Life through a game of kickball that one of my friends invited me to.
It was a Wednesday night, and I was walking through the hub, I think back to my dorm, and I saw this big group of people in this room and a big sign that said Young Life, and stopped by, checked it out, stayed for that function.
I met Brian at some sporting events in high school, invited me over for a movie night. I show up. Nobody else shows up. So Brian and I are just sitting on his couch. We're watching a movie, made some popcorn, cracking jokes, having a good time.
One of my friends asked me if I wanted to go to a hangout with her, and I was like, yeah, like whatever, this could be fun. And I had heard about Young Life. I wasn't sure exactly what it was. I just heard people talking about it at school and stuff, and like on social media. And so I decided I'd go, and I'm glad I did because I had a really good time, and everybody I met was super nice and fun to be around. So I decided I'd keep going to Young Life, and boy am I glad I did.
So I got involved with Young Life my freshman year at IUP. Julie Harrington and I were walking to the dining hall, and across the street were Caleb and Brian handing out popsicles and telling people and welcoming people to Young Life.
I'm gonna be honest, I got tricked. I went for the friends and of course Jess Rocky's famous cooking, but in reality, I found comfort, love, and a great community of friends who I now consider my family.
They invited me to go to Young Life one night when I first came, and I really had nothing else to do, so I was like, why not?
So I went to my first club meeting and remember leaving with a feeling of happiness and belonging, and also really loving the energy that they created there.
I got involved because I looked up to a lot of people
that were going, and they finally invited me to go to campaigners, club, and I was fortunate enough to even make it to 3 different camps.
So I went there with the intention of wanting to join a frat, but the first person I met when I walked in the building to look at clubs, I met Brian.
I started getting involved in Young Life when I was a freshman in high school, and I remember that from the moment I walked in the doors, I immediately felt so welcomed and so loved.
Brian Fries specifically, I met him at a high school football game just out there in the stands, and that started a lifelong friendship. So I've known Brian for almost 7 years now.
Coming into college was a difficult adjustment for me, but Young Life has given me the opportunity to grow in God and help me keep God as the focus, as the purpose for my life.
So I went from a person that went to blaming God to a person that turned to him in every situation of my life.
And after my freshman year, I went to Young Life Camp. And when they say it is the best week of your life, it truly was the best week of my life still to this day, and I don't think that will ever change. That week was very memorable to me because that was the week I accepted Christ into my heart with Hillary during one of the last days there, and I am very thankful that she was there to be with me during that.
The main thing that it's taught me is that God isn't just this distant God. He is such a relational God that he would love me enough to create me and then break down every single barrier just to have a relationship with me.
For me, it really changed my view on God to show really the relational aspect of what having a relationship with Christ looks like.
Through Young Life, I really learned that God doesn't condemn people. He wants to convict people and make people live more righteous lives, but he doesn't condemn people, and neither do Christians. And I was just so blessed to be a part of a community who really invited everyone in and didn't judge anyone for any characteristic. So that really changed my life and my relationship with God.
I've always had the head knowledge of him, but it took me until the 2020 trip to Ohio Pile to finally know Jesus with my heart and as my friend.
Young Life just impacted my way that I viewed Christianity in general. I learned that it was about a relationship with Christ and not about all the things that you had to do to earn his love.
And I, in the past, had just considered that church was more about religion and following rules and being very rigid and structured. And just by Brian inviting us into his home, I immediately felt welcomed and like I was a part of a bigger family.
God used Young Life to just completely change my perspective on him. I was never taught like how he wants to have a relationship with us and how forgiving he is.
I never grew up with a personal relationship with God. He was just kind of there. But getting to learn how much he cares, just loves and wants that individual relationship with everyone has been really cool.
No matter what you go through in your life, nothing's going to compare to what Jesus did for you and I. He died on a cross for our sins because he loves us unconditionally. And if you were the only one on this earth, he still would have done that for just you. Knowing that, it was easy for me just to give my life up to him and follow him for the rest of my life and live each day that I live for him and through his name.
He wants, he knows me wholly, accepts me wholly. And so just being able to see that live out in Young Life and then be able to internalize that in my relationship with the Lord and know that the intentionality and the community that is being pursued with people in Young Life is part of how the Lord wants to pursue me too.
And this summer going into my sophomore year, I decided to go to Young Life Camp. And one of the last days we were there, I sat down with Hillary one night before we all went to bed, and I told her that I wanted to accept Christ into my heart and I was ready to make that step in my life and in my relationship with him, and I wanted that. And she sat there and she prayed with me and she prayed for me and she guided me through every question I had and every moment of doubt, she guided me and she sat there with me. And to this day, it was one of the best nights of my life, and I will remember it forever.
I was definitely missing the full picture of who God was, and it was Young Life that really showed me an image of God that I've never seen before, and it was an image of God who was loving and accepting, and he wanted to be a part of my life.
Young Life truly changed my life because in Rockbridge of 2019 summer camp, I gave my life to Jesus fully.
God really used them in my life to just shatter really every misconception I had about him. He showed me through Young Life that he is personal, he is powerful, he loves me, he cares about what I'm going through, and is able to help me through it.
And now I'm in chiropractic school out in Davenport, Iowa, and I'm 24 years old, and I'm surrounded by people who aren't Christians every single day, and I get the opportunity to shed Christ's light to them.
Because of Young Life, I feel my relationship with God has grown and has become more consistent.
Right now I work full-time in an office job, and my relationship with God is very different from what it was when I was leading Young Life, but I'm so happy to say that I still have a really strong relationship with God. I lead a small group at my local church here, and then I also get involved with the community.
As for now, I am back in my hometown of Kerwinsville, PA. I am hoping to put together a small group Bible study soon.
Currently, I'm a junior at Slippery Rock University, but I'm also a Young Life leader for Butler High School, and it has been so cool to watch God use me, of all people, to go pour into the lives of high school girls who just desperately need Jesus. For him to entrust me with all the good news that I get to share with them has been really awesome.
And now we're married. We've been married a little over 2 years.
We've been very lucky to get connected and involved in a church where we feel at home, start to establish groups and community there, and just really, I think we both feel that our relationship with the Lord continues to grow, and it's been a lot of fun to see how that happens through this next season.
If I would have never have attended, I don't know if my faith and relationship with Christ would be how it is right now.
And I've started praying for my team before we perform, and I've never prayed for other people before, so that was like really, really cool.
And God really threw a curveball at me now. I just moved out to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, where I'm a teacher and I still lead Young Life out here.
Right now, my relationship with the Lord really looks like going deeper. I've been asking him to allow me to go deeper in my relationship with him, go deeper in my relationship with those around me, with roommates, with high school girls, with classmates. With it being my last year at IUP, I really want to be a good steward of the time that God has given me.
And I'm at a point in my life right now where I'm able to understand more about the Lord's philosophy and share it with people who have been looking for something such as mercy and even grace.
I just finished training to become a leader, so that's been really cool getting to kind of start this new chapter, both with my relationship with God and the Young Life community.
As of now, I've been on Young Life staff for a little over 2 years. I live in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and I lead at Montoursville High School.
My relationship with God recently has been awesome. I'm in the worship band here for one of the Christian groups at school.
Since going to Young Life in Indiana County and going to high school there, I've moved away. But I've definitely taken the relationship that I formed with God with me. He's given me the opportunity to run track at the University of Hartford.
We're married, newlyweds, so that's fun. Like I said, we're definitely growing, and the Lord's been at work in all of that for sure.
Brian Fries introduced me to Jesus Christ. Since then, I've been increasingly interested in his name and wanted to grow closer to him. Life's taught me a lot about surrounding myself with a body of believers interested in running after him and making disciples. Shout out to Brian Fries, and I hope your jokes have gotten better since then.
God has recently given me and my small group of friends the opportunity to quadruple our Young Life group just in our school in less than half a year. And it's truly just crazy just to see the numbers go from like 10 kids to 30 or 40 kids per Young Life hangout. And I just try to live my day. I just try to live my life day at a time, trying to live like Jesus Christ.
Like I've said before, I have Young Life to thank for my relationship with him. So thank you to Young Life. Thank you to Brian and Hillary and everyone who is involved in Young Life.
I've been leading for 3 to 4 years. It's crazy to see how he's changed my heart. I definitely see a future in ministry.
I gave my life to the Lord at a Young Life camp when I was 18, right after I graduated high school, and 8 years later, here we are, and I'm still walking with the Lord. And yeah, I am so thankful for Young Life and can't even imagine what my life would look like today if God hadn't used it in my life.
Once again, my name is Brian Fries, and I am the Area Director for Young Life here in Indiana County. I'm sitting on the campus of IUP, where I work directly with students and where a lot of our volunteer leaders are students. I've heard it said that you can impress somebody from far away, but you can only impact them from up close. It's from this campus that we send volunteer leaders out across Indiana County to make an impact on students at Indiana High School, Blairsville High School, and United High School. I'm here at Indiana High School now, where we've had ministry for over 10 years. I've been so privileged and blessed to have gotten to see God at work in the lives of students that you just got to hear from. And I'm so excited that you got to hear their stories. My hope and prayer is that you will have been encouraged by what God has been doing, and also hopeful for what is yet to come through this ministry of Young Life. I'm here at United High School, where in 2020, we have seen our ministry nearly double in size. I am hopeful and very excited to see what God has planned for the future of Young Life here in Indiana County. But the reality is there's much work to be done. Across this country and here in Indiana County, students are being plagued by anxiety, depression, and even suicidal thoughts at rates that we have never seen before. While I don't want to oversimplify the complex social issues that have led to that reality, I do know this: the God of the universe that has revealed himself in the person of Jesus Christ loves these students and invites them into a life filled with hope, joy, and peace. The privilege that we have as Young Life leaders is we get to step into the lives of students and extend that invitation to them with our words and actions. I'm here at Blairsville High School, where for close to 10 years, we've had Young Life leaders faithfully showing up and caring for students. I'm so grateful for the ministries, the leaders, and the students that we already have involved with Young Life, but I believe that God has given us a vision for more. Our hope and our prayer is that sometime in the near future, we would have a Young Life leader praying for and connected to every student in Indiana County. We're not going to stop until we have Young Life here at Homer Center High School, and here where we want to start Wildlife, which is Young Life's ministry for middle schoolers, at Indiana Junior High School, and here at Marion Center High School, and every other school across Indiana County. Jesus says in Mark chapter 8 that anybody that wants to be his disciple must deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow him. He says that if you want to save your life, you'll lose it, but if you lose your life for him and for the sake of the gospel, you'll find it. I want to invite you to give your life away for the sake of the gospel, and in the process, find life to the full. We need more adults to get involved with Young Life, to enter into the lives of young people, to love them and share the gospel with them. We need more people to join our committee and do the hard work behind the scenes that frees up our volunteer leaders and our staff to do what they're best at. And we need more people to step up to the plate financially and give generously. Overall, our goal for the banquet is very simple. We want to let you know the incredible things that God is doing through this ministry, and we wanted to invite you to be a part of the adventure. But specifically, we have identified a few critical areas in which we need help to continue to be a healthy and growing ministry. Number one, we need to find 40 new donors to give $100 a month by the end of 2021. Our hope and prayer is that we would be able to find at least 10 of those folks before the end of 2020. Number two, we need at least 12 new volunteer leaders to be able to help us start ministry at Marion Center High School, Homer Center High School, and Indiana Junior High. And finally, we need 2 new committee members to be able to help us with our Donut Dash 5K that we put on every spring, as well as to help us maintain our online presence. So here's what you can do. Right now, pull out your phone. Go to tinyurl.com/Indiana County Banquet. There, you will be able to leave your contact info so that we can send you a thank you for being a part of the banquet, as well as to keep in touch with what is going on with Young Life. You can indicate what you're interested in, as well as ask questions and leave feedback. Then, once you've submitted that, you can click the link or visit giving.younglife.org/Indiana County to set up a one-time or recurring gift. In just a few clicks, you can begin to financially support the work that God is doing through this ministry. Finally, I want to thank you once more for being a part of this banquet. 2020 has brought a lot of unforeseen challenges, but God has been faithful, and He's taken those challenges and turned them into new opportunities. So thank you for tuning in digitally. Thank you for your support of Young Life, and I am so excited to get to see you in person sometime soon.